arrange 80% of the marriages in India, the second largest country population-wise in the world. My husband Lyman and I returned Tuesday evening from a 15-day tour of that country, and to pass the time on our bus ride from Agra to Jaipur on Palm Sunday, our tour guide, Sandeep, handed out copies of the Times of India Classifieds. 4 pages of matrimonial ads placed by the parents of young men and women. The ads are organized by, quote, wanted brides or, quote, wanted grooms, and subdivided by religion, Hindu, Muslim, or Sikh, and by caste. Even though the system is outlined in India, a recent prime minister was a member of the Untouchables, or lowest caste, socially the caste system is very much in place. Just wanted to share with you just a couple of the ads that were in the paper. This one starts with Vaishya caste, 27, 6 feet 2 inches, fair, good-looking Hindu boy, bachelor in engineering, MBA, working as a consultant in a manufacturing firm from well-cultured, affluent family, looking for beautiful, caring, well-educated, respected, and homely, respected and educated family between 20 and 27 years from India or abroad. Contact with your BHP. And Sandeep explained that BHT stands for biodata. Anyone want to take a guess what H stands for? Horoscope and photograph. And then there's a phone number. Or another example, a Brahmin, Delhi, fair, slim girl, 25, 5 feet 3 inches, convent educated, post-grad, seeks Army Defense Officer. Send BHP to capshermer12@gmail.com. Okay, 4 pages of these ads. Reading through the ads, I couldn't understand. There were a lot of them that asked for a beautiful and homely girl. And I couldn't understand how a girl could be both homely and beautiful. Sandeep had to explain that homely, in this context, means that the wife-to-be, who might be professionally trained and working, agrees to be a stay-at-home wife and mother once the marriage ceremony takes place. Parents pore over the BHPs they receive, and if interested, exchange information, such as whether the horoscopes are aligned correctly, the groom's income has to be produced, provide a verified statement, and the material assets the bride will bring to the marriage. Now, dowries are officially illegal in India, but just a few years ago, several brides were murdered by their in-laws once the material assets had come to the groom's family. So on the books, it's against the law. Well, once the negotiations are completed by the parents, the prospective bride and groom meet, albeit briefly, and usually in large family gatherings. If you've ever watched an Indian Bollywood film, you know that marriage ceremonies can last for several days, with the groom arriving on a horse, an elephant, or a camel-drawn carriage. Lyman and I saw several marriage ceremonies underway in large outdoor garden-like areas in Mumbai last week, and at our mega-story hotel in Mumbai, family members were rehearsing a dance routine to Bollywood music, which we assumed they performed later that evening. Even though Indian women have equal rights under the law, and we all remember Indira Gandhi was prime minister when she was married, women are very much left behind. Men are still in charge in the public sphere in India. In every town that we visited in northern India, I saw men urinating in public. Indeed, the Delhi High Court refused this month to, quote, intervene in a petition seeking authorities to ensure walls are not defaced by men urinated in public, unquote. One of the court justices was quoted in the Sunday Times as saying, quote, short of ordering that every man's zipper be locked and the keys left at home, there is little it can do to check the menace, unquote. We stayed in luxury business class hotels throughout our trip, and several times the 8 women in our group received definite second-class treatment. In Delhi, on checkout at the Holiday Inn, 2 of us were indignant that 2 Indian men dressed in business suits shoved ahead of us and were checked out before us by the hotel staff. And at another hotel in Kota, where we needed a password to log into the internet, the concierge staff, all male, told Linda, one of our group, to have a seat and wait in the reception area when she kindly asked for the password to log into the internet. A few minutes later, James from our group approached the same member of the concierge staff for the password, and he quietly gave it to him. At our welcome meeting, tour guide Sandeep indicated that it was probably not safe for us women to walk outside alone at night because some men still consider women alone in public as prostitute material. Indeed, a young professional woman was brutally raped and murdered by several men while riding a public bus alone at night in Delhi just 2 years ago. Since then, the government has passed new laws banning curtains and requiring that interior lights be left on during the evenings on buses. Even in our tour bus, there was a women's help telephone line prominently displayed at the front of the bus. While the men responsible for the woman's murder have been prosecuted and sentenced to prison, several prominent politicians in the parliamentary elections currently underway have made misogynist statements which appear to be well received by their constituents. Conservative Samajwadi Party leader Abiy Azmi said at a party rally to his followers, quote, if any woman, married or unmarried, has sex with a man with or without her consent, she should be hanged. Another conservative politician told people at a rally last week that, quote, boys will be boys and shouldn't be prosecuted for raping women. Looking out the window of our air-conditioned tour bus, I often felt like a voyeur as I witnessed women in their colorful saris reaping wheat by hand in postage stamp-sized fields, carrying platters of bricks on their heads at brick smelters, and or zipping by our bus on the back of a motorcycle, dressed in a sari with one arm around the man driving the bike and another around the child on her lap. Once, while waiting for a train to pass by, I saw a woman fill up a 2-foot-high jug of water at a well beside the road. Somehow, she managed to get down on her knees, put the jug on her head, stand up, and walk away without spilling a drop. Most women we saw wore saris. Hindu women were very colorful ones, yellows, purples, greens, and blues. Muslim women dress in more somber colors, purples and reds and blacks, and covered their heads. It was hot and dry, like in Arizona. Every day we were in India, with highs in the low 100s. The second day of our trip, I took Sandeep for his word that it was okay to wear shorts and put on a loose-fitting pair. We stopped at a Hindu temple, and I was banned from entering until I borrowed Linda's sweater and wrapped it around my knees. After that, I buried my shorts in the bottom of my suitcase and toughed it out in slacks and capris, except for a couple of Western women tourists, and there weren't many of them while we were in India. I never saw another woman exposing her knees. I envied the Indian women in their light-colored saris, which they draped loosely with a short-sleeved sports bra-type top, leaving their bellies exposed below their navels for better air circulation, but their knees remained covered. In the 2 weeks we were in India, we rode an elephant, took a rickshaw road, a tuk-tuk taxi, visited the Taj Mahal, 5 16th century forts, 4 town palaces with the Mughals' harems, went on safari where some of our group, including Lyman, spotted a tiger in the wild, and we all took pictures of wild boar, monkeys, and species of deer. Lyman and I and another couple from Michigan had dinner in Udaipur one evening at a rooftop restaurant with the locals who were watching a cricket match on a TV set they carried up onto the roof. We were enthralled by the fireworks being shot off around the lake shores. We watched a Bollywood movie in Jaipur in Hindu with 300 plus locals at a huge theater complex and enjoyed the experience. We took off our shoes to worship in a mosque and at 5 Hindu temples. We passed buses traveling 60 kilometers an hour with men riding on the roof. We saw thousands of neatly stacked piles of cow dung, the only source of heat for many village homes. We passed by camel carts loaded with wheat and by street vendors selling fresh coconut, mangoes, sugar drinks from sugarcane, and flowers for honoring the Hindu gods. We watched our driver swerve several times to get out of the way of the cows that meandered down highways and sidewalks in the countryside and in every city we visited. We saw thousands of people living in makeshift shelters or no shelters at all at the outskirts of every town. Local vendors, including beguiling small children, besieged our bus at major tourist attractions, selling us souvenirs. We began our tour in Delhi by visiting Mahatma Gandhi's funeral pyre site and ended our tour in Mumbai at Gandhi's former residence. We bargained and came home with bangle bracelets, homemade camel handbags, wooden necklaces, shawls, cotton tops, 984 pictures to bore our friends with, a positive view of the spirituality of Hinduism, and new understandings not only about gender roles, but also about the history and cultures of India. Since I officially retired from Missouri Western in May 2012, Lyman and I have traveled to Turkey, Australia, New Zealand, Croatia, Slovenia, Montenegro, Venice, London, Edinburgh, Wales, Great Britain, Dublin, Guernsey, up the fjords of Norway, through the Panama Canal twice, to Alaska, to Hawaii, 4 islands in the Caribbean, Costa Rica, and most recently, India. Why? As the editors of National Geographic Traveler put it in this month's magazine, travel opens us to truth and wonder, immersion